Gotcha. I mean, it's kind of quiet. The game can get a little loud, so when we get into the actual game, if it's still quiet, let me know and I'll adjust it. There's not a whole lot happening on the menu. But if the game music is still kind of low, let me know and I'll increase it and we'll go from there. But yeah, the community, we got our leaderboards will go up soon. We're just finalizing some of the categories. Oh, got a quick thing to say via announcement. Yeah, we're gonna, I did a couple runs of this already. No, this was not scheduled. This was kind of like a surprise filler because Mash doesn't need 24 hours to do his run, so kind of filling the gap up a little bit. Figured why not showcase a new run of the game. Finished it last week, and I've done a couple runs, and I've been doing a bunch of practice and just things kind of working out. So hopefully you'll enjoy it. There's a lot of different types of speed runs that we can see potentially with this game. Today, I'm going to be showcasing probably one of the more streamlined versions of the run. But mind you, there's so much routing potential that's still untapped. So a lot of what you're going to see here today may not be the same thing a few months from now, but I think it'll be pretty cool. Maybe spark some interest, and yeah, we'll go from there. So there are 3 difficulties. We are going to be doing specifically the story difficulty. Keep things a little bit more chill for marathon showcasing. One day we'll look at doing the harder stuff, but why don't we, showcase the run more than showcase the difficulty spikes. So with story mode runs, the timing will start actually after I select yes for casual mode, and we'll go from there. So if Zell and the team at Really Longathon is ready to start the timer here in a little bit, I can count us down. And then yeah, let me know if the volume when we get into combat isn't great, and I'll make it work. All right. So with that said, 3, 2, 1, go. So all cutscenes in this game are fully skippable, so we're going to skip every single cutscene, especially cutscene that happens early on, because there is a very DMCA feasible song that can play. So if you don't skip it quick enough, then things will, possibly happen with the channel. So right off the bat, we start in this battle against Tiamat. A little bit stronger than we should be. We're just going to spam R1 into R2 for Rising Slash. Oh, looks like Tiamat didn't want to go down for a second there. Let me know if the volume level is still too quiet, or if it's good now. So beginning is a bit of a tutorial. So the game starts you about 6 stages down the road. Yes, no, of course. I will. Well, I can skip the cutscene, so I should be able to just straight skip it. So there shouldn't be any concerns about that. So here's the game's introduction to the tutorial system. So we're going to learn the game and how to play. So just like most Soulsborne type games, you have your R1 for attacking, you have your R2 for like your special attack, based on your job class. No game audio. Uh-oh. That is unfortunate. Interesting. If I do this, does that help? Is there any audio now? No audio now. I'm not quite sure what I set up wrong. Sorry. I'll take the time loss. It's fine. What about now? Is it any better? I think I may have known what I did wrong. We hear it now? Okay, I accidentally muted the output then, so my error. So now it might be too loud. Hold on, I'm gonna lower it down. I'm gonna lower it a little bit for combat. Let me know if it's too loud. All right, so I accidentally muted the output of the game. It's a good thing I'm not on sound design. I know, right? WoadyB strikes again. I'm notorious for this stuff. So, like I was starting to say, we are learning how to play this game, and so... Audio seems fine now. Alright. Let me see if I can talk about the game again. So, combat in this game is pretty straightforward. You have your... R1 is your basic melee attack, R2 is your special ability, and then you have a number of other things you can do. So we're gonna do spin the win here. Yeah, R1 basic attack, R2 special ability based on your job class. You've got there is no jumping in this game. You can do what's called a soul shield. So your circle button does an ability called soul shield, and what soul shield does is it is a way to block your enemy's attack but also regain MP or increase your max MP bar. The dangerous part about doing a soul shield is that your character has a guard break gauge, like a break damage gauge, and so what can happen is if you overuse soul shield, you can run the risk of being broken easier as a result. And so we soul shield in a way that will not only block the move, but ideally not cause us to have our shield broken. But a lot of that is going to be based on timing of the enemy's moves, and there are certain abilities that normally you can't block. Now, in the mode we're playing, unblockable moves are blockable, which is something I actually forgot until earlier today when I was practicing. I was like, oh wait, I can block these moves in this moment. And then other things you may notice is enemies may show a purple. If you see like the color purple above an enemy's name, yeah, if you soul shield too much, you can get staggered and stun locked by your enemy, which is also played into the amount of gear you have. And also occasionally you'll see the color of the enemy's moves might be purple. If you see a move labeled in purple, that generally means that that is a ability that you can borrow from your enemy. So what can happen is you can soul shield a purple ability, and when you soul shield a purple ability, you basically take that ability to use for yourself, which sometimes can be handy as a kind of like an additional damage output, because it doesn't use they're called instant abilities. It doesn't use any MP or anything. Is the game timer broken? That's a good question. Is it? I can't say that I actually see the timer.
Found a spot to rest.
Let's have a look.
We got company.
Let's knock them down. Stay out of the flames.
Here we're gonna dodge all these bomb enemies.
Better tread carefully.
Earlier what I did was the timer's paused. I guess anybody from Zell or anybody else, it's working. Okay. Well, I don't have the ability to unpause it.
This'll be a breeze.
Earlier, one thing I did was I opened up the menu. So if you're in combat, you can open the menu without stopping character movement. And so I waited till I was running from battle to open the menu and equip the DLC weapon, the Rebellion, just to give myself a slightly additional boost of damage for the
Should be fine here.
beginning. Now, gear is a very important part of this run, and most of it is RNG based. So even though there's a DLC weapon being used, it gets pretty outdated right after the like second mission practically. So it's part of the reason why we allow it is that you may save slightly more time in the beginning. You're not going to be saving an exorbitant amount of time for enough of the run to warrant disallowing it. But basically, we skip all battles. We only fight battles that we have to fight, like against these things called dark vents. These things are laid out at different points in stages as kind of like gatekeepers to level progression. And so there, run up, hold down spinning slash, and the damage from it is enough to push the bar and then also replenish some of our MP. And we just continue on. Strangers of Paradise features 27 different job classes, which is pretty cool because what it's done is it's allowed a number of different routes to be explored by our community. So we've got people who have focused on the current job that I'm using, the swordsman. There are myself, you'll see me switching to a class called the Ronin coming up soon. In stage 2, we get a weapon, a katana, and I'm going to become a more of a Ronin character. I'm also going to be working towards the White Mage subclass for my second job. Here we're going to use this moment of battle to go into the menu and ideally change our duelist job to Mage. Little input mishap there, so not as smooth as it could have been. But yeah, we need to start gaining job levels on Mage because we can't unlock White Mage until Mage is level 9. But here we are coming up to our first boss battle. The first boss battle is going to be against the Chaos Advent.
I almost feel sorry for them.
So here we're just gonna go to town with our spinning sword ability. That's phase 1. Oh. So this so this is where you have to be, this is where the run is. You've got to be very mindful of what you're doing because I didn't pay attention to my health bar, and so as a result I ended up eating dirt and dying as a result. So, and realistically that should only happen on this run if you forget to pay attention to your health bar. So that one's on me. I'll make sure I don't do it again. Yeah, sometimes you can tank hits in a way that make you like forget about your health bar really quickly, but instead that time we remembered. All right, and so that's the end of our first battle there. We'll tighten it up. A little bit of a mishap on my end, but we'll make it work. We'll make it work. A lot of Donald and Mickey jokes in chat. I apologize if the commentary is all over the place right now. It was not my intention. All right, so we've taken down the first battle of the Chaos Advent, and then the girl Neon was the Chaos Advent. So it's not the chaos that we're looking for. So we go back and see the king, and this is where we get told about going on a quest to find the 4 crystals as the Warriors of Light.
And
Yeah, the chaos we were looking for is in another castle.
your first.
So yeah, one of the things that I did towards the end there is we when you're trying to level up in the speed run, when you're trying to level up a secondary job that you're not predominantly using, best practice is to switch to that job before you do any circle finishers on things like dark vents or boss battles. So boss battles and dark vents have to be defeated through a finisher with the circle button. And so what is a good practice to do is to make sure you are swapping to that job class that you're trying to get experience. Now, a couple things that honestly, you get so caught up in the moment of going fast that it's not uncommon that we as runners forget to switch jobs all the time. But thankfully, there's other ways to make up for the lost experience. And so switching to the other job class before you do the finishing move will actually give that job class the experience. Another way that you gain experience is if you have gear. Now, mind you, in the speedrun, there's no sort of like menuing for gear, because like all equipment that you earn from battles and drops is all RNG. There's a couple chests that are guaranteed to give certain items, and depending on your route, you may get those chests, you may not, or you may open up a chest and then hope the RNG of that chest plays in your favor. Because a lot of what makes this run fast is the luck you have with the weapons you acquire. So stages are equipment level based, and so if the level of your weapon is far below the level of the stage, you'll still do damage, but your boss battles aren't going to go as snappy. Plus, the weaker your gear is, the more likely you're going to get broken by the boss, so, or by the enemy, or just by enemies in general. So if your characters are low gear, if your gear is bad, and even just random enemies you encounter, they could hit you like one time and it could stun you with a guard, with like a guard break, and then you're losing time, you're taking damage, you run the risk of dying. So a lot of the run is still caked in RNG to some degree. Obviously, with practice and some, routing and just practice, you could probably still get through even with terrible gear without too much risk. But you'll really have to practice like how to counter, or how to block certain moves, and when to retaliate, and which moves not to attack for. But here we are in stage 2. Fun little fact: all the stages in this game are actually based on other Final Fantasy properties. So this stage is actually based on Final Fantasy 14, believe it or not. So something to keep in mind for the upcoming stages. See if you can pick out which Final Fantasies each of these stages we're going to be going to are based on. So here we're going to have to fight this Corral. Unfortunately, the game doesn't let us bypass it. So I'm going to do some spinning slashing, as we've always done. If we break the whiskers, it heavily stuns the coral. Go ahead and for the kill with the spin the slash. All right, there we go.
Thing must have been starving.
Right, the loading screen does give it away. I wasn't going to mention that, but the information is out there now. And yes, the loading screen gives it away which game it is based off of.
What should we do now? Don't think I've ever seen you so scared.
I just hate being surprised.
So here we're gonna do one of the few kind of like, nah, you're good. So this is where I'm gonna do kind of like one of my, like a rare menu type thing. So I'm actually going to, so I just got a katana, and I'm gonna use it to level up my preferred route of the Ronin on the, basically I do this to level up Ronin so I can kind of have it catch up to the other job class. And so what I'm going to do is I'm also going to set up my stuff here. So we're going to actually put Mage on the first one, and we're going to put not Lancer, sorry, Ronin here. So this is one of the like few actual like menus we're going to do that is not like outside of combat, just because you can't level up job classes. You basically can't level up a job class in the middle of, like, you have to be at a save point. Sorry, that's what I'm trying to get at. You have to be at a save point to level up your job class. And so I wanted to use Ronin. I wanted to use Anima Shards, which are like big XP boosts for whichever job class you use them on. And so I wanted to use that to boost Ronin up to level 7, get it up to snuff a little for the upcoming battle in this. and then from there we're gonna just continue on. There's not a ton of menuing. We'll menu again a little bit later for our white mage job class once we have enough experience to actually learn it.
Get ourselves together.
Now, I'm a big fan of the Ronin class. Ronin has a couple of really powerful abilities at its disposal that can really do some good chunk down damage. One of them you saw an example of it. You'll see plenty of times throughout this run, at least for now, until I learn an ability called Garo, but it's called the Itagiri. It's my R2, which is the unique action. As I mentioned, there's 27 job classes. Each of the job classes has a unique action in the R2 section, and so Itagiri is kind of like your standard, like, samurai sheathes their sword and then suddenly pulls it out and does like a quick slash attack. And so we use it, or I use it, I should say, a lot to charge to full, and then a lot of times it will knock out a lot of enemies, kind of like these dark vents. You saw one fully charged Itagiri was enough to break that dark vent, and so from there we just keep moving. And so I use that as a way to do a lot of burst damage on a number of these bosses I fight. And here we are at boss of stage 2. Here we're gonna fight BK. BK is one of the only bosses that doesn't have a like a mid stage. So a lot of bosses you'll notice have a kind of like a mid, like a phase to it. And so he doesn't have phases. He just has one health bar for the whole thing. Oh god, his minion got me from the side. There we go. And that should be the end of battle. That BK. And that is it for him. So it looks like no katana drop, which is fine. We're not in a bad place on weapon strength yet. But yes, he has a single straightforward health bar. That is correct. He's like one of the only bosses that has just one health bar. All bosses, you'll start seeing it from here on out. They will have a kind of like it's like the first boss, Chaos Advent. He had a mid HP bar, so you get him to down halfway, and then you go into like phase 2 where they're like the character attacks and stuff like completely change up and stuff. But yeah, so a lot of what we do with Ronin is we basically use another ability I learned with Ronin also was a move called Summon Tachi. Summon Tachi is a move where you will boost your attack damage, but you will increase the amount of damage you take. So it's kind of, like your risk reward type of ability where I'm going to do more damage, but I'm also going to take a lot more if I take any hits and stuff. And so we use that to increase the damage our Giddy move is going to do. In addition to, when we run out of MP, we also aim to try and block the boss's stuff with our our O button, our circle button, to give us some MP back. Because when you soul shield, you gain MP back, and MP is a big key to getting through some of these battles fast because they rely on us using our R2 abilities. So here we've entered the Western Keep. We're going to meet the Dark Elf Astos, kind of see what's going on with Chaos, what's what needs to be done. And he's actually the one, I said this earlier, he's actually the one that mentions to us about the 4 crystals and like looking at them or going after them and reigniting the 4 crystals or setting them in motion to help the world rid itself of chaos. Here we make a slight detour only because this is one of few guaranteed weapon chests. So as a Ronin, I need katanas, and so that chest I just opened has a guaranteed level 19 katana in it. One member of the community, Kios's little monster, actually I believe he was the one who found it, to my knowledge. If somebody else found it, I do apologize, but He is the one who pointed it out to the community. And so I, as a Ronin runner, go there and get that chest because that level 19 weapon upgrade is going to be helpful for me. And it's a small time loss. It's nothing drastic, and it's totally worth it to get me at least something to use for the time being. And then from there you just kind of hope. But that is the only guaranteed katana outside of the first one in stage 2 that we currently are aware of. So any other katanas I get from here on out are all going to be relied upon RNG from the drops we get in various places. But see how every time we pass the save point we get what's called an anima shard, and so anima shards are what I'm going to use to boost some of my job levels up so I don't have to worry about leveling up as much on their own. It's like a way to kind of get like quick free experience. So when you get the save points and when you defeat certain stronger enemies, you'll see that those will drop from them.
Now then, what should we do now?
All job classes, ignoring New Game Plus related content, all job classes tap out at level 30. They can be increased to something higher in chaos mode through the use of items, so you can actually make all job classes like level 99 technically, if you choose to, through, you know, some effort of grinding. But here we're gonna activate the elevator and then we have to wait for it to come down. While we wait for it to come down, we're gonna use this opportunity to try and kill some enemies, or we're going to get paralyzed. So it's one of those, like, you just fight the enemies until the elevator comes down. Let's try and get some experience, maybe some gear. Sadly, paralyzing powder was not our friend from that goblin, so he kind of got the best of us there.
Jack's power is no joke. You think he might be the one?
We need to make sure. Why not throw him
Oh,
out
sorry to
there?
hear about that, Pendle.
And I'd settle it quick.
We've all been there with our internet problems, so we know the feeling.
I think we could use that.
I could use a break.
All right, so now it's time to fight the boss of the third stage, the Black Knight.
Watch it. This thing is fast, and it hits hard. Just stand there and let it hit you. Careful. Time to go wild, Jack.
Down here and fight us there.
Okay, this should be it for phase 1. Oh, don't worry. It's definitely like fashion show the game, that's for sure. You'll see a lot of the gear we get is gonna make me look a very specific way. All right, and that takes care of the Black Knight. Alright, still no katana drop, so we're gonna be rocking the level 19 katana for now, which is fine. Yeah, so like I said earlier, for those wondering, I am playing on story difficulty because this game is pretty challenging on even normal at times. It's definitely not as like go in and just go ham on the enemy. So this is definitely like a speed run if you're kind of like, hey, I want to do runs of this game. I want something kind of low stress, unless you're going for like, you know, really good time. Right now we're all working towards sub 2 hours for this category, especially because there's so many different routes being tossed around right now in the current round stuff. Yeah, there's a couple people who have messed around with some hard mode runs. I think their time was like around 5 hours last I saw. I didn't see the end of the run, and our leaderboards aren't up yet for run submissions to know the exact time, but there was somebody doing a hard run. They were around 5 to 5.5 hours, I think, from what I saw. Could probably come down lower because you know, the better you get at this game and the less likely you are to die, the faster your time is going to ultimately end up becoming.
It turns into this.
What is it?
When unnatural power is fused with the natural world, it becomes a source of darkness.
Yeah, so here we are in a Final Fantasy. I'm not going to say which Final Fantasy we're in yet, if anyone wants to take a guess at what Final Fantasy this stage is based off of. But here we're on the next stage, because now we are headed towards the Wind Shrine, or where the Wind Crystal is found. And so we just, you know, on an adventure. It is not tactics. So all stages are based off of numerical Final Fantasies. Correct. It is based on This is based on Final Fantasy 13.
Let's be the first to welcome these monsters into the world.
The lives will be easier without it.
Yes, this is based on the Sunlit Waterscape section of 13.
Now let's move.
All right, still no new katana, which is fine. Not the end of the world.
What a view. But there's a weird feeling I can't shake.
Of course.
On the stage, there is a... Yeah, and if you actually listen, when I'm not talking too much, or if I'm not in combat, you can kind of hear the Sunlit Waterscape music being played, believe it or not.
Is that all you got? Let's nip this thing in the bud, Jack.
Yeah, it's a little hard to hear between my talking and, of course, the fact that I keep going into combat. So it's the non-battle music doesn't play for long enough a lot of times.
Let's head back.
So I want to make sure we don't fall off, because we need to use that to come back up, or we're going to be taking the long way. But the gimmick in this is that we have to touch these orbs to change the weather, because sometimes we need water to fill up areas, sometimes we need water to be basically removed, so we need like water to grow plants, and then we need the water to go away just to bypass certain areas where water might be in the way. Like here, this is actually normally filled with water, which is why I had to interact with that item to be able to remove the water. Thank you so much for the raid, Lemon Kitsune.
Now then. What should we do?
Yeah, it looks like, so if you look at the bottom right, you'll see the mage class is on level 7. So we're almost ready to switch it to white mage and do our next menu. So we should be able to do it at the beginning of next stage, based on the rest of what this stage has to offer, as long as we make sure we kill the boss with with the mage job equip, so it gets the experience.
You go out there, Ash. Then tell me those bolts aren't a hazard.
So we can run off ledges. There is fall damage. Is chat rickrolling me? Chat is rickrolling me.
Start respecting Jack.
Huh. Did I?
Yep.
Running into a ledge there.
Jack, remember?
I do now. Thanks.
Any chance you could forget that?
I'm getting rickrolled by chat right now. Let's see, I'm trying to think. Is there anything else I can really talk about with this game? I don't know. If anybody has any questions or anything, please let me know. I'm more than happy to try and explain anything if I haven't. But honestly, this game is basically a combination of combat, of running around and combat. It's basically what this run is made up of. You're running from point A to point B, and you're only stopping to fight the battles that you have to for progression of the game. There's not any, at least in the routing now. Now, maybe on harder difficulties, there might be some more side paths that are routed in for possible like item accusation, like acquiring, like that might help. But for now, it's pretty much like running straight forward from like point A to point B. But here we are at the next boss. Here we fight the core elemental. This is I don't know how to explain this boss. It's basically like fighting Ifrit and Shiva in a way. And so this first phase, we have to fight this orb. And so basically we need to whittle down the the break gauge to move on, but we can't hurt it when one of these like summons is up. But thankfully Itagiri will kill one of the summons basically in one hit. And so that should move us forward to the next wave. I'm going to take this opportunity to re-equip myself. Is the fishy minigame?
Fusing together.
Control and fast. Chaos wouldn't go down so easy. Let's stamp this thing out. Try not to get hit.
So that, remember I talked about paying attention to your HP so you don't die? Yeah, that almost didn't happen. We almost forgot about our HP again and died. Yeah, this is a good boss design. Basically, what happened is we fought this weird Shiva Ifrit like orb thing, and then we break open the orb, and it causes like some magical chemical reaction, and it basically forces them to combine into one. So that's that ugly blob, nasty looking thing. So funny enough, you should say that, Rain. I'm not sure. So there are some people messing around with some expert jobs. So it does heavily depend on the routing, but we are messing around with it. So it just depends on some of the runners. There are a few people who have messed around with Breaker. Some people have messed around with Sage. You know, so there's still a lot of routing that is being done to this game right now. So I wouldn't count anything out quite yet. So here we learn a bunch of abilities because Garo is going to be one of our biggest DPS moves. That is going to help us a little bit more than Itagiri because Itagiri takes time to charge. So what's great about Garo is and you'll see Garo's work here in a little bit. Garo is this ice attack that also has like a pretty wide area of effect, and so you'll see me use it as a way to take down the dark vents. You'll see me use it as a way to knock out groups of enemies when they get in the way and stuff. One thing I did forget the menus, I forgot to switch to white mage over mage, so we are going to take a small little hit here to make sure we do that. The reason why we want white mage is actually because of haste. So who wants to see me go fast? Because that's basically what haste does. It increases your movement speed out of combat. Yeah, you also get a lot of experience from anima, which is why I now have a level 17 Ronin class. And there's actually a stage where anima can be farmed pretty quickly if you can kill this hippogriff. You can, because enemies respawn at save points, so you can kill this one enemy, get 2 anima shards, go back to the save point, and get another anima shard. Basically, you kill the hippogriff, get 2 anima shards, use the save crystal, he respawns, and you keep killing him and stuff like that. Yeah, you'll see me use haste to help me just get through the level kind of quick. I don't always use it right away, just because sometimes I need the... So here we've got our big ogre guy, who is now down. Okay, so we needed that to activate the portal. Yeah, I will say, as of right now, mind you, this game is still so early in routing potential and run potential that we don't want to write off expert jobs quite yet, but I will say that there are a number of expert jobs that definitely don't seem like, in terms of a speed run, are going to do a ton to help the run too much. Oh my god, we got... gotta love when that stuff happens. So we got knocked off the stage thanks to our fire elemental there, so we did take a little bit of a hit, but it's fine. But yeah, we're still playing around with a lot of stuff. There's some potential in monk, there's some potential, some people have talked about like assassin or ninja. subclasses for Ronin as like a counterpoint to them. Breaker's been tossed around. Definitely Sage has been tossed around by a few runners.
I feel like I've climbed this tower before.
It's a Dimension 7 ladder warp glitch. It is sadly not. It is sadly not included.
It's on the eye, like a mirage. Makes you see things that aren't really there.
So yeah, there's Garo doing its work. AoE attack with a ton of extra damage there. So, oh, really? You went for the short version? So we have to move these crystals and basically get them to be activated by magic. So I need... Okay, so thankfully that triggered it. I wasn't sure if it was going to, but it did, thankfully. So yeah, we have to trigger some of these lasers to open up paths. Thankfully, not all of them need to be activated. So as you see, I run by a few of them. Speaking of dimensions, which Final Fantasy is this one based off of? And admittedly, I think I partially forgot. So we are in the Crystal Tower. So this one's weird. It's the only one that I can just kind of run through without any like regard. Yes, I believe 3 is accurate. So yeah, this is where stuff gets a little dicey in this area because of like enemy grouping. So what we're gonna do is we're going to kill some of these enemies if we need to, just to get them to stop attacking us. Yes, this is Final Fantasy 3. You are correct. You are in time for chaos. A little bit of a rough crystal tower. That last conduit is kind of a pain. No, unless I'm misremembering. I think no, 4 hasn't happened yet. I could be wrong. I'm pretty certain this is from 3. Nah, we've already done 14. We've already done 14, 1, and
Let's be the
2.
first to welcome these monsters into the world.
Let's get it over.
Right? Now we can see what's ahead.
Really, it is, man.
So I will say we are starting to get to the point where my low-level katana is going to be a little bit of a problem, at least in terms of like damage output, but we'll make it work. Yeah, and we've done 13, but I'm pretty certain this is 3. All right, time to fight us a Chimera. Oh,
No
I spoiled who the boss was.
Time for a change.
All right, we want to haste. Now we're gonna go ham. All right. One thing I love about the Ronin class is the Sensen stance. Basically, I'm gonna dive in there, gonna do a quick Garo, and then we're gonna enter the stance and just go wildin'. Alright, that should be it for that. Swish, swash, swoosh. So yeah, Chimera is down for the count. And we got ourselves a katana. Alright, we're leveling up our gear. Yes, using your allies' resonance attacks is definitely very good at increasing your damage. Yeah, that's the only problem with Sense and Stance is that you do lose you do lose the ability to respond to like dodges and things like that, but your damage output, especially if you combine it with haste, makes things go pretty fast, as you saw there. Yeah, you can do a lot with just ally attacks, that is for sure. Also, what's up, Mage? Thank you so much for the good luck. So one thing you have to remember is you have to switch to haste. Many times do we as runners accidentally cast Dia instead, which is hilarious. But here we are in the Flying Fortress, the location of the wind crystal.
I think.
You think? We hope.
So here we find a lot of robots. These robots are actually pretty resistant to blade attacks. They're actually weak to fist attacks, like strike attacks as they officially call it. So if you see me fight any of them, you'll see it says like resist and stuff.
Watch yourself.
I do, and it's my favorite casual style too.
I got you.
Get away from the wall.
So we're gonna go ahead and replenish haste just to get things moving.
It's just how I am. You are helpful. Sometimes.
That's practically a compliment coming from you.
I've got a bad feeling about this. Bad feeling justified.
Accept your runs. What?
Now then. What should we do now?
This is the one. All right, time for a change. This is the one.
I don't know why I like doing this. Oh, I should probably be using the elevator to re-equip myself. So elevators are really good points in runs when you can't do anything to re-equip yourself, so you can minimize time loss from opening up menus.
Check it out.
Just something to keep in mind.
Come on, follow me.
I mean, the game, you can still argue the game is kind of a meme, but honestly, it's a lot better than the trailers maybe made it out to be. I actually ended up really enjoying the story. I mean, yes, there are all these like chaos memes and stuff, but I actually think Team Ninja did a really good job with it. And I don't think it's like as maybe bad or janky of a game as maybe like trailers have tried to imply it is. Yes, they leaned heavily into it for marketing. That is true. But coming up, we're not quite there yet, so I'll talk more about it when I get to it. But the boss of this section is definitely a big, in my opinion, kind of going to be a run killer for non-casual runs, in my opinion. So we still got time. We'll talk about the boss when we get there. But I do think the boss of this stage is going to be a big run killer for higher difficulties.
Stay there.
But here is another section where we have to wait for an elevator to come down, so we just need to be mindful of the enemies. Try and use this time to fight enemies if we can, just for the experience, if we want it. So it's a good way to try and get some additional experience, get some additional gear while we wait. Replenish our MP where we can, but not be too unmindful of it. Yeah, the last couple stages really bring the story together. Yeah, the game is definitely much better than maybe some of the marketing tried to make it seem to be. I will 100% say that.
All right, time for
Traps everywhere.
So just to try and help a little bit, because the faster we go, the better this section will be. We're going to... We don't want to wait too long in any section to let our enemies start attacking us, because we're not killing anything. There's so many enemies that we're going to get stun locked just trying to get away from them. I mean, it is tongue-in-cheek, but like it's a mix of tongue-in-cheek and not tongue-in-cheek. Like it's definitely a balancing act between the two. That is 100% accurate.
I'd have better match. We gotta keep our heads cool.
Of course it's not better than Drakengard 2. Drakengard 2 is the GOAT. Yeah, some of these stages, things can get pretty dicey. What I'm gonna do here is there's a chest back here that has a chance of giving me a good katana. We're gonna see, hey, RNG has played into our favor and we got ourselves a good katana. I'm also going to heal up my MP just so the boss battle can go a little bit smoother. But hey, we got ourselves an ice weapon, which is honestly great because the coming boss is actually weak to ice. So this is perfect to help us take down this boss much faster. So here we have our, if you're familiar with Final Fantasy 1, you should know who this boss is. This is our first battle against Tiamat. So it's the same as it was in Final Fantasy 1. Tiamat guards the wind crystal, and so we've got to take her down. Now this boss has a mean second phase. Thankfully, we're not gonna worry too much about it, thanks to the skill of the runner in question. We shouldn't have to worry too much.
Trapped in a storm. Not good.
Alright, so that's phase 1 done. So some bosses will have a cutscene that plays in between their phases for story purposes. So with here, Tiamat has this gimmick in phase 2, and this is why I think it's a run killer for harder difficulties. Tiamat will regenerate its HP when its health bar gets low, and so you have to try and be quick about the battle as much as possible. So you're gonna see, like, I'm gonna go ham on Tiamat here, but at some point she's going to I stopped her, haha. So I'm trying to prevent her from regenerating, but see, she still got it off anyway. So we just try again. But yeah, every time you cut off a head, it basically runs the risk of her doing the same. So we just got to keep breaking the break gauge. And there we go. Finally broke. But yeah, Tiamat is definitely, phase 2 Tiamat is definitely a battle of endurance, you could say. Yeah, I beat this game on what difficulty was it? I beat it on action. So I might be doing the speed run on story. I did beat the game on action, and Tiamat took me a while. Because Tiamat, as the HP gets low, will regenerate, and so you essentially have to basically keep whittling down its break gauge until you can overcome the time between regenerates.
Let's restore the fire crystal.
Yeah, no worries, Jerickson. Magic might break it faster. I'll be completely honest with you. I've not dabbled with magic, so you are probably accurate. If I was the whack it with like Blizzaga, like if I was doing more of a mage route, I probably would have fared better in that sense. But being more of the melee type of person I am, obviously I have to fight through it in other manners. By the way, that previous stage, for anyone wondering, was based on Final Fantasy IV, because I know we didn't really talk about it. So last stage was based on Final Fantasy IV. Anybody want to take a gander at what Final Fantasy this is based off of?
Focus on our mission. What else? All right. I can get behind that theory.
And I went the wrong way. Whoops. I haven't done that in forever. Yes, this is the FF9 zone. That is correct.
This water is so clear. Let's try some.
Yeah, Tiamat's definitely was an awakening call for me on action difficulty. I can only imagine, like, when I start running the action category, what that battle's going to feel like when I'm ready to run action. So I'm running this category at least until I get sub 2 hours, and then I'll probably move on to the action category instead.
I can barely see a thing in this fog. We had better proceed with caution.
Yeah, action's definitely gonna be not as much spamming, or at least not as much like, let me get in there and just kind of wail on the boss and overcome the difference. So Garo basically instant kills these plants, which is why I use them, or use it. Though as you can see, I don't have any MP to really use it too much more. Wait a minute. We almost went the wrong way.
So tell me.
Yeah, I didn't really. I have not dabbled in magic too much. Not that I have anything against magic. I just find that the whole like charging up your spell and not getting, you know, your butt kicked by the boss just felt difficult at times. So I was worried about, like, I was basically worried about losing my MP trying to cast the spell, and so I found that I was just leaning more towards like weapon combat.
Not with the old.
Can't choose. Sure is human in here.
Nah, man, I get lost in the forest too. That area be confusing sometimes, so don't worry, it's not just you. But yep, we just continue blazing through the stage, skipping all battles. Probably could have hasted just to get things moving, but honestly, the boss battle is coming up here really soon, so no need to really do that. So we'll just heal up real fast. Yeah, combat stuff's really fun, but here we are at the next boss. Yeah, the dodging and soul shielding is going to go a long way. All right, so here we get to fight a giant Malboro. So this is fun.
I want it out of my sight.
What's it doing to the ground? Damn it! It's attacking from beneath.
So I got to be careful of its ensnare move. So you can actually break these tentacles if I was actually attacking them, but as you can see, I'm not. So we're just going to go a different route.
Better match. We gotta keep our heads cool.
There, he broke my gauge. That's fine.
Okay.
As if it wasn't repulsive enough. Watching it regrow makes my stomach turn.
All right, should take care of phase one. Yeah, you just have to find the balance. So here we're going to try to itty-gitty the face, because if we break the tongue, it actually stuns Malboro. All right, that should be it.
Learn a couple things.
Yeah, voice card is actually after this.
Annihilate you.
All right, and there we go. Malboro is down. So with Malboro, the trick there to helping with that battle, especially if you're not going to lean into like the magic route with like maybe using like fire or any sort of spell on it, is you want to target in phase 1 and 2, you want to target the tentacles, because if you break the tentacles, it's going to briefly stun and increase the break damage on Malboro, giving you some time to, you know, lay in your stronger moves. Also, is you're going to want to do on phase 2, you want to take out the tongue, because the tongue also will stun the boss. Yeah, so fire boss is very rough in my opinion on easy mode runs or story mode runs. I remember I had a lot of trouble fighting this enemy on my, so I'm not going to. So a fun fact, I let myself get hit by that and knocks me off the ledge, so that was pretty funny.
Not until we find a way past this lava.
Also, normally because of the damage you take from fire, you'd want to do something to stop the fire pits, but you know what, we're in a speed run, we don't do that, we just run through the fire. I guess you could say we run through the fire and flames.
Tread carefully.
Damn this lava.
There's gotta be a way across. Find it.
Yeah, we like to burn.
Now let's move.
So what happens when we revive the fire pit?
What are my thoughts on the chaos percent category? I mean, I think it would be cool. I mean, I think it could be cool. I've never played chaos percent, but we are anticipating. Sorry, I need to actually heal,
It's the cornerstone.
or I will die running through the fire. We actually are planning to have a chaos category. Would chat like to guess which Final Fantasy this is based off of before I say what it is?
Cubes, over there.
Should we take a breather?
Yes, I made a Guitar Hero joke. That is correct, Glacier.
Yeah, that means we're making progress.
Might be in big trouble.
Gotta keep our heads cool.
8. You are correct. Final Fantasy 8.
Enemy spotted.
Let's knock them down.
Pretty high
That's in
up,
Chaos. I
aren't
thought it would be
we?
close.
Must be near the top.
That means the fiend's close.
I mean, they're like,
It's close.
I haven't played Chaos mode, but I have heard people say that like Chaos percent will probably end up being a lot of like level 300 gear 99 job class where you're basically like one-shotting most things. So I don't know. I mean, to each his own. That's the beauty of speedrunning. We all run categories we want to run. So I mean, you know, some people will probably want to run it. I don't have the brain power to heavily grind out level 300 gear mixed in with like maxing out job classes for my own sanity, so I probably wouldn't do it, but you know, power to those who will do it. All right, so that's phase 1. Yeah, I mean, there is supposed to be DLC, so it is going to be interesting to see what they do with it. So if you attack Margaret's tail, you can actually stun her briefly.
Fire swords. I should have expected as much.
Blocking those will leave a mark.
Alright, so she did Inferno, which is almost like a death wish. Alright, we got her. Proper staff job. Don't they have? Maybe I'm misunderstanding what you mean by staff job. They have job. I mean, unless you mean like a staff weapon and not like a, not a spear-like weapon. It's a visual thing. It's a visual thing. The timer's still running, to my understanding. Yeah, that's what I've heard. I've heard like you can. It's like a bow staff. Fair enough. I haven't messed around with. Admittedly, I've been so honed in on routing like Ronin and messing with either Ronin or Samurai that like I'm so oblivious to other job classes outside of it. But that's the beauty of this game. It's so young in the speedrunning life. There's so many route potentials out there. We've got people doing Berserker routes. We've got people doing Sage routes. Got people doing like a Dragoon route. Like people doing like Monk or talks of doing Monk. So it's really cool to kind of see like all the different like route potentials and such with this game. It's like it's really, really neat. All right, so here we are in the Hollow Mastiff. Though, fun fact: the last time I did this stage, I died like 2 times. I won't tell you why, because it involves the final boss. Because the final boss has a really pain in the butt gimmick to it that I underestimated and I needed to pay better attention to, but I chose not to. And so as a result, I ended up dying twice. So I've actually got like a massive time loss in my run on this split. We're not gonna let that happen this time, though. We're gonna not do that this time. So here we are, heading towards the Earth Crystal. So we've taken down the Wind Crystal, we've taken down the Fire Crystal. So now we're on our trek to the Earth Crystal. So which Final Fantasy is this game based off of? Or this stage based off of?
That thought might not be your own, so I'd take it with a grain of salt if I were you.
An avalanche! Be careful!
So here I have to wait for an avalanche to happen, so I literally can't do anything until the avalanche falls. FF10. I know this one's pretty obvious. This one is definitely a lot more like,
What did this?
duh, this is clearly Final Fantasy X.
But they look like they're sleeping. I hope their dreams are at least pleasant.
Avalanche must be 7.
Look at those icicles.
Circle gets the square.
Very stable.
Agreed.
Yeah, I've been really enjoying this run. I did a couple of like demo runs. I was like, this is gonna be fun. Game came out. I watched a few other members of our community do runs for it, and then I bit the bullet and just bought the game. I was actually gonna wait to buy it, and I was like watching other people do stuff for it, and I was like, man, all right, fine. I'm just gonna dive in head first. And then I like beat the game like I think like within like 3 days, and then I just immediately jumped into doing speed runs.
I'm so over grinding.
So, when we first got to this mountain, I felt lost. Also excitement at the thought of scaling this thing.
So if you are familiar with Final Fantasy X, there in Mount Gagazet, there was this period where there were these 3 colored icons as you saw there. Normally in that game, you just like pick, Waka one color, Titus one color, and Riku one color, and you call it a day. Here I have to like find 3 dark vents of the different colors and break them to move forward. So we basically just run up, do a Garo. Garo's AoE damage effect does so much damage that we don't really have too much to worry about with the enemies interrupting us. Garo wins. When I started actually using Garo more, I'm like, I underestimated the hell out of this move. I thought I really liked the Itagiri move, but my problem with Itagiri is that I have to charge it up, and so the risk of getting knocked out of the charge is so high that it just doesn't, in my opinion, make it like worth it compared to like what I could be doing. So here we're going to basically unlock the rest of this job tree so we can improve a few things. We're going to go ahead and add a few abilities. We also want to try and mix it up here on our Sensen stance so we can kind of do like a sequence of combos if we can make it work. If I have enough MP, you'll see me do it, but all right, there we go. So now we are level 30 job class, basically maxed out.
Time for a change.
And now it's time to fight the boss. Can I avoid taking too much damage this time? We'll find out. Boss was a huge issue for me last run, but I'm back with a vengeance. So here we fight the dragon zombie. So dragon zombie does a lot of poison-esque type damage, which is what killed me, is all the poison. So I didn't pay attention to my health. I was poisoned too much. And so as a result, I just ate so much damage.
Let's keep our distance. It's using its own flesh as a weapon.
The whole area is covered in that rock. What do we do?
Time to go wild, Jack. Better.
We're running out of room to maneuver. There must be a way to get rid of it.
Alright, so already doing great on phase 1. So one cool thing about Ronin is that if I set different abilities to my Senshin stance, I can basically chain them together. So you'll see me do here. Okay, I got hit, so it didn't work out as well as I wanted it to. So, oh, never mind. My teammates.
It's open. Now's our chance.
Go ahead and throw some ice at them. Hey, got through without a death. That's what I'm talking about. I know, if only I had a Phoenix down to chuck at this thing. Oh. I mean, you get the gear even if you don't pick it up, but all right, so still no new weapon. So we are starting to get to a point where the RNG of weapon drops is going to start giving me a little bit of trouble. Even though we're on story mode, your gear is still a huge driving force into getting through battles as fast as possible. I think we're still okay for the weapon ability that we have. Like, I think we're okay in terms of like the strength of our weapon, but if we don't get a drop probably in the next 2 missions, we'll start to feel it.
So the earth crystals.
And all right, a zombie on top of a mountain, never heard of that.
It's covered in darkness.
So welcome to the Earth Shrine.
It does.
You know, Wins, I'm a speedrunner for this Final Fantasy, so I fully agree with you. It's a great Final Fantasy. I do run this game that this world is based off of.
Can't even see the bottom.
Better watch our step.
Anybody want to take a guess?
Nice try.
Yep, 12. This is based on Final Fantasy 12. I am a runner for the Zodiac Age version of the game. I run a number of JRPG games in addition to running this. So if you do like your JRPG speedruns with some action games mixed in there, definitely stop by the channel sometime. I'm actually currently I'm on a hunt to get sub 3 hours in the Zodiac Age. All right, so there we get through. So we gotta fight a weird, cheap version of Demon Wall. That's not even as good as the real Demon Wall. Where the MP gets the best of you sometimes. Yeah, it's budget Demon Wall.
You're in for it now.
Look, man, of course I want the real Demon Wall. I'll just Traveler his butt. So here's a room where we are forced to fight some of the enemies. And so what I'm doing to reduce the kind of like painful battle here is I'm fighting some of the enemies now before I move on to the rest of them. This will reduce how many enemies are kind of jumping on me.
That was a close one.
Because we have to kill this like enemy up here at the top to be able to move forward.
Might be in big trouble. Just keep hitting them.
But some of these enemies like to get in my face. As you can see, the Cursed Griffin doesn't take a ton of damage, and so we need to be I'll just go ahead and use my crazy ninja combo, or not ninja combo, but my crazy combo effect. Because one thing I really love, and mind you, it's really hard to pull off because you basically need a bar of MP for every part of the combo. But I love going into Ascension stance and using different and basically chaining together a bunch of moves because it just looks really badass, and I just really enjoy that element of it. This Demon Wall we don't actually have to kill unless we want the chest behind it, which we don't need in the speed run, so not too worried about it.
Right.
Yes, we did get a new weapon. It looks like it's only 1 level higher than my current weapon, so while that's cool, it's not going to drastically improve anything, so I think we are fine for the time being. But it was at least nice to get a drop. Because I've definitely had some stages where I've definitely gone many a stage, like I've gone like 4 stages without a single weapon drop, which has been wonderful, I must say. Sorry, Malboro, I don't feel like fighting you.
I hate that feeling.
All right, we should be getting close to the end of this stage. Yep. So we're going to replenish our MP. We've got a full set of bars. We're going to go ahead and go in with basically some stat boost to start, just to get things rolling. Let's go ahead and fight the boss of the Earth Shrine, aka the Lich. One thing I love about this game is I do really love how updated. Like I love the look of some of these enemies from like what we know them as, and so it's been really cool to kind of see some of the design choices they went with. All right. All right, Lich. So Lich does a lot of magic in the first phase.
They're being absorbed by the fiend.
All right, so we got to be careful here
Tactics have changed.
because of flare. Oh no, the poison! Speedrunner's worst nightmare in this game. Poison. Because we forget it's happening. Like I said, a lot of unintentional deaths because of it. Yeah, one of these days I'll get through an entire run of this without dying because poison didn't kill me. Yeah, it's fine. Alright, so we got our MP back. The Lich likes to run away a lot, so we're gonna try and prevent. There we go. Pretty much, yeah. White Mage is the quickest way to get haste. Don't really need it for anything else, at least in this run. So this is where, again, poison is going to have to be a thing I need to be mindful of. I've also been cursed, which messes with my break gauge. All right, so we can use this opportunity. No, it happened again. It happened again. Yeah, I let poison get the best of me once again. Yeah, so admittedly these are definitely senseless deaths coming from me. Like I really shouldn't be dying that much. But on the bosses that do poison damage, you really need to be mindful of what they're doing to you. So obviously my mistake for not, being ready for it. So. But yeah, so poison is most dangerous in phase 2 because of putrid ground. So like I said, that one's on me for letting it happen, but we'll fix it. So we'll go ahead and make sure it doesn't, we'll, not go in for the kill or go in for the aggressive attacking. Ooh, that was close. So best case scenario, Lich would have grabbed one of our teammates and then been stuck in place. Not me in this case. Yeah, you definitely want Lich to grab one of your teammates, not you. Alright, we'll go this route. Alright, we're going for it. Don't you take me down, poison. So Bit of a big time loss. I know y'all can't see my splits, but maybe about a 2.5 minute time loss because we died a bunch of times. But honestly, those were all my own deaths. I could have easily avoided the dying. But hey, you know, it's the growing pains of learning a new run, right? Gotta know when to go ham and when to only be a salad. Alright, so we've taken down 3 crystals. Or replenished, or I forgot how they phrase it in this game. We've dealt with 3 crystals. And so now it's time to head to the final crystal. So the final crystal is the water crystal. So of course, as the gimmick has been this whole run, there's always a in-between stage to get us to the next crystal. So first we got our in-between stage. The in-between stage is an interesting stage. It's definitely one of the like bigger stages with a lot of like navigating around. Plus the stage is full of machines. Machines in this game are resistant to bladed weapons, so they're actually weak to strike weapons. I think they're also weak to piercing weapons. And so for me, I mean, thankfully, you know, we skip all the battles we can skip. Thankfully that doesn't affect me too much, but like I could see like in some cases with like harder runs, because I'll tell you right now, the boss is a machine. I could see like finding ways to kind of like either you deal with the resistance and just kind of work through it, or you know, obviously use a job class that will have a more like effective type of weapon towards it. Now mind you, some job classes can equip multiple types of weapons, so while yes, I am using a katana as a Ronin because it definitely benefits more from the katana, it's not necessarily the only weapon I could in theory use for it. So here in this stage, based on a Final Fantasy we haven't stated yet, we have to find these levers which basically turn on the electricity, and so that's why you see me kind of running around to very specific points, because I can't activate elevators and doors if the electricity is turned off.
Nothing's ever easy for us, is it? Let's silence this thing.
So now we just need to make our way back around. Yeah, there's also that. So your teammates do have other job classes. Now, as you can see, I haven't actually like done anything with them. So there's been, I've just been using the main 2, Jet and Ash. But honestly, I think Sophia and Neon are better for speedrun purposes because they both have mage job classes. And when they use their like mage abilities, like, oh man, the AoE from some of their abilities and the stun ability from some of them, it's really nice. It is really nice. All right, so we're up to level 51. So now we have a level 51 weapon, but we are still about 11 levels below what the stage recommends. So we should be fine, but if we don't get a new katana, at least on the next stage, we're definitely going to suffer on the stage after the next stage, for sure.
Are you guys listening?
Yeah, the girls can both, but also with their job classes. So as you progress through the game, you can unlock new jobs for them, and then there are also side missions. Not that we do any in the speedrun, but there are side missions for the friend characters to unlock like another job, like their expert level job essentially. And so there's stuff like that. In the speedrun, you know, we don't really need it. So that's why you don't really see me doing anything along those lines. That may be on some of the harder runs. There may be reason for adjusting some of their job classes, but I won't know until I start routing stuff like that. Thankfully, nothing to interact with here. We just run through the stage.
Why are you so afraid of the past, Jack?
Not afraid.
I hope everyone's doing all right. Hope you're enjoying this game. I know it's not the cleanest of runs that it could be, but you know, in these Dark Soul-esque type games, you know, sometimes there's going to be deaths.
Like I care.
That's a huge headache waiting to happen.
Plus, I am trying a couple admittedly new strats that I learned in practice, like the Garo spamming. Definitely wasn't doing that as much. So I'm definitely messing around with some new things to see how they would fare.
Do you two remember anything?
I remember being from here.
All right, who likes getting shot in the face by a laser?
I don't want to lose to anyone else.
Because I don't.
No, I have to live. No. No. Jack will be pissed if nobody hears us. Let's not.
And if that thing hits us, there must be a way to stop it. We just have to find it.
Least favorite run down a hallway I've ever had to do. That thing hurts and it knocks you back, and you can't run through it. So it's definitely rough if you don't mess with the lasers like aiming. So you can make the laser aim a certain way, and then when it starts to turn towards you, it doesn't move very fast. So thanks to like haste, you can usually like outrun it just enough to make it work. So this stage didn't have a lot of dark vents, so my MP's not as high as I normally would like it to be, but that's just the nature of some of these stages. When you're not really fighting battles, you're not really getting hit with any vents. Now, anybody want to guess which Final Fantasy this stage was based off of? And while I fight a giant claw thing. Oh god, oh god. I've never been shot in the face by a wave cannon. Alright, so I think I've got it in a stun lock. Alright, we got the stun lock. 5 is correct. Yeah, this one is based on Final Fantasy 5. If you attack the sides of the Kraken Claw, you can stun it, kind of like we're doing right now. So we should be able to stun lock it. Yeah, this battle should be over here in a moment because we keep stun locking it. Don't worry. Final Fantasy 7 is coming up soon. Spoilers. So yeah, Kraken Claw is another one of those. Hey, we got a 63 katana. All right, we keeping it moving, y'all. We keeping the equipment levels moving. So yeah, Kraken Claw with Ronin, at least you can get into a bit of a stun lock, because if you attack its legs, I want to say its tail as well, I can't remember. The game will give you a lot of these like boss tips. If you fight a boss and you die to it, a little orb appears on the ground nearby and it gives you like tips to fighting that boss, and it will tell you if the boss has like a specific body part that will like stun it if you were to hit that part. And so with the Kraken Claw, if you can get it, yeah, they're basically pity cubes. If you can get the, if you can get a stun lock going and you just keep your onslaught going, you can basically keep it stun locked the entire time between phases, and which is pretty much what I did there with the Ronin class. So I mean, honestly, this world should be so obvious that it's almost like, you know, too obvious in some cases, I would say.
Was it because we destroyed that generator earlier?
Maybe. Anyway, it's open. Let's go.
This door. It has the same.
One of the biggest problems to having a underdeveloped weapon, or not underdeveloped weapon, but a weapon that is not as close to the stage's recommended level, is it makes one-shotting dark vents harder. So if your weapon isn't close enough, the further away your weapon is from the recommended level of the stage, the less likely Garo for the Ronin route is going to actually one-shot the vent. So you saw there it had like a little bit of HP still left. This is being run on story difficulty, because we are still routing. A lot of us are still kind of working on routing and playing around with ideas that nobody in the community has quite explored story. There's been a few people or action runs There are some people who have done action runs. I don't think they're like,
Now let's keep going.
they're,
Jack,
I don't know. I don't know if they're speedrunners normally or if they just did it for the Square Enix challenge. But nobody in our Discord has talked about story runs quite yet. So
Protect her at all costs.
Well, she is the symbol of hope.
that's what I'm going off of.
If you really want to protect the princess.
Here's my least favorite enemy.
That's a royal family.
Even if you were knighted, I'd expect they would be worth it.
Mostly because he just goes to town on you. He's just really annoying.
Maybe that's how we
And he's also like super tanky. Now it's possible that maybe if I can get him to come over here, this might work. Yes, I am not a fan of this boss. Or this like mini boss is what this is. Just because he's like I said, just super tanky. There we go. Took him down.
This must be the key to that door. Right. That means we
So we don't actually need to fight all these enemies. So the reason why you have to fight the Sahagan Prince is because he drops a white key. We need the white key to move forward in the level. So this is one of the stages where they make you fight a couple random enemies, just for, you know, whatever purpose. So game does have fall damage, so you do have to be mindful of how much HP you have before doing what I just did there, or you run the risk of dying.
And the sea will be itself again.
be itself.
I admit I'm
Yeah, there's one streamer I've come across who's been doing some hard runs as well as some like action runs, but I haven't seen them pop up in our Discord. So there are people who've done the runs, but they're definitely not the most active runs being done right now. Here we have a Malboro enemy. This enemy can be a quick battle or a long battle depending on its placement. So if you can get it near these dispensers and get them to explode, that does a lot of break damage. So ideally, I want to try to bait the Malboro over here. There we go. All right, almost got it. Don't have it because he's probably gonna kill me in a second because he's on fire.
All at once.
No room for mistakes.
Yeah, this battle can be really quick if you get the canisters to blow up at the right spot. Or it can be a huge pain in my butt. Okay. Kind of a slow battle there. Normally with that battle, okay, I don't see a katana that I'm missing picking up. So yeah, that Malboro has a lot of resistance, but if you can get it close to those canisters on the wall, which I probably should have got it to bait into one more, that probably would have been like the smarter thing to do. If you get the canister to blow up on it, it does huge break damage, and it definitely takes anywhere from like 2 to 3 canisters, but if I could have broken it, I could have just one-shot it. So that was on me, probably not, like I should have like did more of that ultimately is what I'm saying. But yeah, I mean, if you haven't been able to guess what Final Fantasy this stage is based on, this entire room should basically tell you what it is if you are familiar with the Final Fantasy in question.
There's that sinking feeling again.
Like, it's like right up in your face that it's
Stop.
I know you're joking, Deed, but it's okay. Alright, so here we are, the final fiend to end our quest. It's Final Fantasy VII. It's time to take on the Kraken. Liam Neeson, I think it was Liam Neeson once said, release the Kraken. In this case, Kraken released on me. And we gonna die. We gonna die because So this is what happens when the RNG of your drops has not been kind of you, in a way, because okay, so we respect, we might be a little bit better. So the weaker your gear is, the easier it is for the boss to break you, and that's pretty much what happened there. He only had to hit me like once or twice, and I basically lost a chunk of break gauge.
That looks bad.
Now watch us learn a couple things.
All right, so we got the standstill move, so we should be okay from here. Yeah, so we're doing a little bit better because we respect. So yeah, always remember to re-equip yourself at times, or stuff like this will happen for sure. So here we are in phase 2. So phase 2 will jump in the water, but if we break these items, I will actually electrocute the water and basically knock him out. There we go. All right. And down goes the Kraken. What did you walk back into? Well, you walked back into Final Fantasy VII. Yeah, Chaos. You basically walked back into Chaos. All right, so I guess the game must be over, right? We've gone on our quest. We've taken out the oh, you didn't know that wins? Yeah, it's in one of the pity cubes. The pity cube actually tells you. Yeah, if it goes in the water, you break the little electrical thing, electrocutes him, knocks him out of the water so he doesn't do tsunami. It's a way to like stop him from doing tsunami. But yeah, so the quest must be over. We've taken out the 4 crystals. We've accomplished our goal. What's the worst that could happen at this point? So why don't we go back? Let's go talk to the King of Cornelia and just, you know, let's let him know things are a-okay. Oh, what's that? The city is covered in darkness, not light? Huh. So apparently while we've been on our quest, every time we destroyed a crystal, bad things have happened to the world. We destroy the water crystal, the seas are raging, with the wind crystal down, the winds are thrashing up the lands, Cameron with the earth crystal does, but basically each of the elements has damaged the world in some way, and so the world has fallen into chaos, believe it or not. Now we got to figure out what the heck is going on and how do we stop it. And so we have I said the thing, yeah. So now we have decided that we need to go find Astos, the dark elf who set us on our way many missions ago. We are here to fight chaos.
Let's go. Let's knock them down.
So thankfully here we don't need to fight any of these battles. This is actually a very short stage. Hey Cosmic, thank you for the good luck. We actually don't need to fight any of these battles, so we are going to just book it past all the enemies.
Not everyone can handle that.
This is one of the shorter stages. Literally all we do is fight the boss at the end here, and that's pretty much it. I'm here to chew bubble gum and kill chaos. Suplex the planet. All right, so we get to fight a possessed version of BK.
Now watch and learn a couple things.
Hey, mama caboose. That's what we want to see. Our teammate getting grabbed, because then we can just basically spam attacks here.
You're in for it now. Gotta keep our heads cool.
There we go. No, Bikke. It's Bikke. So for Bikke, because he doesn't seem to really get stunned by, like, he doesn't have a gimmick where if I attack like a certain part of his body, he's going to like stop or whatever. Like, you know, he's going to like kind of stall or get stunned. So with him, I actually like to go back to my old method of like fully charging Itagiris because of like the damage they output. Yeah, who's got time to be dating? We've got chaos to destroy. All right, so we were told to follow the bats. So we were essentially told that we should follow the bats. They will lead us to Astos because we basically open up the gates to Armageddon. And so we need to, yeah, Bikke is the only like enemy you fight like twice technically in this game.
I have no
So here we are in the Ancients Tower.
white walls, white
Anybody know what Final Fantasy this is from?
Honestly, I find it unsettling.
Well, we're here, and we have a job to do.
I know that. Let's find Astos.
And we're running out of Final Fantasy, so there are only so many more guesses left. Yes, this one is based on Final Fantasy 11. I actually remember this one because I played 11, and this was very recognizable. He's the leader of the bunch. You know him well. He's finally back to kick some tail.
Easy to get
DK,
lost. Not if you pay
Donkey
attention.
Kong.
There are differences.
Yeah, I imagine they'll eventually figure out. There's actually a trick to knowing which game each one is based off of. So this is this is, in my opinion, one of those stages that you can easily get lost in if you don't know the path through, because it's like a multi-floored dungeon. So we want to stay away from the center of that area, or it will throw us into a forced battle until we break a generator. So that's why I kind of hug the wall to the left.
You've heard of Lufenia, Neon?
It's a fairy tale, right? Everyone's heard of it. The stories say it started as a tiny village.
It's coking a gun. Can oh, that was a weird visual thing that just happened. Yeah, how do you read? I don't know how to read.
It prospered, thanks to strange devices that served without question. Fearsome instruments of war.
Yeah, we're just trying to ignore as much as we can.
Seemingly without end.
Find a better match.
Hello, bats. Seriously, bats are like the worst enemy in this game. They're the only enemy that will like aggressively chase you through like the entire stage. It's so stupid. Hi, Tomberry. Bye, Tomberry. Yo, Tomberries are so dangerous. So Tomberries will drop some really powerful, like, they'll drop some good gear. But the problem is they are really, they can one-shot you just like they do in their games. So.
Another locked door? Just how obsessed were they with security?
Cornelians often say that things they can't explain.
So we won't be able to watch, for anybody wondering, we won't be able to watch the ending cutscene, because Square Enix doesn't want people streaming it. Admittedly, like, I mean, it does suck, of course, but like, it is what it is. But yeah, the minute I hit time, I will be skipping the cutscene like as quickly as possible, as quickly as the game will allow me to. I will be doing that.
Some sort of crystal?
Yeah, I don't want to get Zell in the community channel like flagged or anything for it. So, but yeah, we'll just the minute we get time, we're gonna like skip like instantaneously. Like the moment the game will let me skip all the final cutscenes. It's the reason why is because they are Square Enix
Excellent.
has
Open.
not been one right. They don't want to stream the ends of their games because Final Fantasy VII Remake is the same way. Ah, yes, this battle. So I've had trouble with this battle because of this elemental. Because right now my gear needs to be optimized. So we are going to optimize it and hopefully that will help.
That was rough.
But yeah, we are currently dealing with a situation where I think my weapon is under leveled for this stage. So
Aren't we done yet?
enemies are really gonna hurt me if I'm not careful.
Treasure, huh?
Yeah, it's just Square Enix doing Square Enix things. They didn't want you streaming the end of 7 Remake. They didn't want you streaming like the end of this game. So it's just
Enemy spotted.
stuff they just don't want being done.
Lock that door.
All right. Let's see. This stage is great for this. So yep. So now we're just essentially. Well, yeah. Well, they eventually got rid of that. So like when they re-released 7 Remake, they didn't care, but like they specifically.
They must really want to keep
I don't know if they've actually gone after one. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I streamed the ending. Or actually, no, I didn't. I did not stream the ending. Now that I think about it. Well, yeah. I mean, plus it's not my channel. If I'm gonna stream if I'm gonna stream the end of it, then I will do it on my personal channel. I am not going to do it on somebody else's channel. Yeah, like I'll stream the end of it on my channel, but I won't like. Zella's asked me not to stream it, so I'm gonna skip it when it comes up. But all right, so what we were doing there is essentially. Essentially, we needed to activate 3 colored crystals to be able to get to the boss of the stage. Essentially, get to the end of the stage, we had to activate 3 colored crystals, and so now we're going back to that lift.
Now then,
What should we do now?
So now that we've activated all 3 crystals, we can head to the boss battle of the stage. Boss battle of this stage is definitely something. I will say on action, it was definitely an interesting process of a battle.
All I know is there's a powerful presence in there.
Oh dear.
All right, so we finally found Astos, but Astos is kind of getting his butt kicked by the one, the only. Keep pausing for dramatic effect. Iron Giant, and no, it's not Vin Diesel.
Here it comes! Watch out!
Skilled in swordplay and magic. Impressive for a mere machine.
Tech made some
So
serious weaponry.
this is where my gear has gotten the best of me, because we're gonna die essentially. Okay, we made it through very luckily, but yeah, sadly the Iron Giant is doing a lot of damage to us because we don't have gear to sustain the damage as much as I would have liked. Which is why you see me kind of taking this a little bit slower and not getting too crazy. Okay. Yeah, I think it's fair that they don't want it either.
It's just a minor disease driven by darkness. Let's put it out of its misery.
Oh, not lightning spiral. Peace.
Better tread carefully.
Yeah, this is where the RNG of the run can be kind of seen in its full glory, because every time he hits me, I basically get broken, which is what I'm needing to be mindful of.
Almost out of potions.
Be safe, guys.
Which is why you see me taking this a little bit slower, not as like gung-ho as I have been.
Whether powered by ancient technology or dark energy, they have overstayed its welcome. Let's shut it down already.
Okay. So yeah, not great, sadly, because gear has not been kind to me. And still no katana. All right. So yeah, so I've talked about this a few times throughout the run. If the RNG of the weapon drops of the route you're running have not been happening, this is basically what you see here, is that early on, I mean, I'm just gonna have to play battles slightly safer and just go for it. Well, it's on PC as well. It's on Epic Games for like PC, so it's not a PlayStation only game. But yeah, we had a really good run in like the middle of the game because we were getting good like katana drops, but then we started to kind of hit a wall with drops, and so now I think we're still running off of like a level 63 katana. It's definitely not our best. It's definitely not the best situation to be in. I will wholeheartedly tell you that right now. But you know what? We're making it work as best as we can. It obviously just means that I can't go as ham on the bosses because my gear isn't able to like maybe survive a hit or two. Because like one hit and I basically get broken.
Let's go. Let's knock them down.
Is there post-game content? Not a ton, to be honest with you. There's like 2 side missions that unlock in post-game, but nothing drastic. Now I believe there's like plans for DLC from what I saw in like the deluxe edition, because I think there's like, I want to say there's like 3 pieces of DLC that are planned for development. But yeah, there's unfortunately like outside of like all this, well, and then there's chaos mode. So like chaos mode, like I guess it's a little different though, because chaos mode is just, yeah, we have a level 63 katana on a level 100 recommended stage. That's how weird our drops have been so far.
What are we even doing?
Killing all the monsters. Duh.
We do this for Astos?
But yeah, essentially like
What info is that?
I get the feeling
there are like side missions and things that can be unlocked, but it's nothing like. No, I need that. So this is my least favorite room. We're gonna probably die here because this game hates me, and this is the worst room if you're under geared because of this electrical bullshit. Yep, and we died. Oh my god, Gilgamesh DLC. So yeah, so this stage is very rough if your gear hasn't been kind to you, particularly that room I was literally just in, because those nightmare horses do so much stun damage with bad gear that it's very hard to get out of it. So if I can run in, one shot this, we can get out of here. Hopefully, as you can see, getting out is going to be very hard and painful. Okay, we got out, but that was definitely very dangerous. It's definitely very dangerous to get out of there. Honestly, I'm surprised there's no like Bahamut content.
I get the same vibe. Let's be the first to welcome these monsters into the world.
It's
Yeah, admittedly, this is probably like one of my worst runs when it comes to gear. Oh, nope, actually we are dead. Yep. Yeah, so this is a perfect example of why there's still so much routing being done, because even though I'm on easy mode, you can see that I'm still dying because the game has not given me drops to keep me alive in any like simple way as a result. So this is why we're still doing a lot of routing and trial and error with things, because like I'm very badly geared for this part of the game, and so this is basically just like it's just like time loss that I have like next to no control over.
Who cares?
Yeah, exactly, slapped to death.
All of that's just background noise. All I care about is
So it's why like you can have a run that is like super far ahead and then you start actually losing time on.
something to kill. I'm nothing without
Yeah,
battle to
it's
fight.
in some ways it's kind of like RNG the speed run. Oh hey, Cactar. Not that we're really worried about the Cactar because he runs away too much. So Cactars are randomly spawned enemies that have a chance to drop. They drop a lot of gear, but killing them can be a bit of a crapshoot if they do too much running away from you.
Comes with guardian monsters. Not very tough.
So yeah, basically we're just breaking all these like conduits to be able to. Yeah, see, one hit, I basically go down for the count.
There. The barrier must have gone down somewhere.
Yeah, that's usually how I know if like.
You okay?
That drive inside of you was what kept you anchored.
I mean, I don't know if like normal would have the same problem, like running on action or hard. I don't know if it's like an easy thing specific, like, I mean, maybe, but yeah, like this gear's pretty bad. Like nothing I'm wearing is anywhere near 100, which is part of why we're taking so much damage as is. Because we just don't have really anything to protect ourselves with.
Wow. It's lovely.
Huh. I never pegged you for a nature lover.
You really know how to ruin the moment, huh, Jed?
Yeah, Really Long Thong has a channel.
Be careful.
And jeez, man. Oh, look, bats, my favorite. Yep. Remember I mentioned how like literally nothing I can do. My gear is so bad that I can't like one-shot anything you see here. So we're just gonna have to go ham on them. And hope we don't die in the process. Honestly, Tormented Souls are the real enemy of this game. Jeez.
Should be fine here. I could keep going.
Anything? Nope. Just a bunch of ninja. Just a bunch of dual blades. But yeah, this is definitely the roughest of like the couple runs that I've done. This has definitely been the ugliest one of them to date. I don't usually have gear this bad up to this point.
What do you see in that town?
We got a little bit more in the form of defense, so it's a little bit of an improvement, but our weapon is still lacking.
Better off if he doesn't remember where we come from.
I like to go after this middle one first because of the giant. I know, right? It is. I would agree. It is marathon luck. Don't worry. I can feel a weapon. I can feel a weapon drop coming soon.
That solves that.
I can do that. What?
Running low?
Gotta stay sharp, guys.
Honestly, I would love a weapon drop because the boss of this stage is going to be a pain in my butt if I don't have a weapon drop.
That was quick.
Yeah, it's more like my gear being bad is affecting my ability to like tank hits from enemies and deal like good burst damage with some of my abilities. That's all it's really affecting me.
I know you sense it.
I know, right? I have a level what, 63 katana.
Especially to get what I want.
All right, boss battle time, and we didn't get a weapon drop, so this is gonna be fun. We may have to, I don't know, it's gonna be a weird mix of like we may have to slightly eat time to not die on this battle. Yeah, he's this is gonna be fun. He one hit.
Powering up.
Ready! Something big's coming! This one's got some teeth.
We got this. We got this.
This one's time to go wild.
Or we got this. Oh, looks awful on PS4. This is PS5, by the way.
It's like a living crystal.
We're not done yet. Shatter it to pieces.
Not good. Not good.
Because you're hitting it at random. Focus on one area and smash it.
Yeah, see if I could actually tank that hit with better gear, then I could have spammed more. All right, we're going for the
Time to go wild.
Oh, we got him.
Really, really bad. Stop it.
Woo! Okay, still made it work. So if he gets up and does Mega Flare, you can kind of help if you attack him and damage him quick enough. You can actually what's the word I'm looking for? You can actually stop him from using Mega Flare. So I can't train of thought there. Yeah, I basically had to channel my action gameplay style. Yeah, still no weapon. Still no weapon. I'm not, I mean, I've had good luck getting a weapon on this stage, so I think we're gonna be okay. I tend to usually get a katana, but I'm ready for the game to prove me wrong. I think one of our runners almost beat a run with like a level 47 weapon, I want to say. I don't know if Cosmic is still around, but I think he had like a level 47 weapon for like most of his run. It was pretty bad. I know, right? My weapon is in another castle. It's cool. So here we are, the final Fantasy, Final Fantasy 6. You can even hear it in the music. We've only got like 3 stages left in the run.
Let's knock them down.
Where do you think Lufenia is?
Somewhere far away, I'm sure. Not just in distance, but in time, too.
I can't even visualize that.
Imagine you're a worm squirming in the mud.
Yeah, so here the gimmick for this stage is
They could eat you if they want to.
we have to basically
Probably just
go through these 3 gates, and we have to destroy these statues, essentially. And so each of the tunnels we go down, we go to one of these teleporters, and we use it to teleport to this battlefield, and we take down one of these statues. Because of my low level gear, we have to be careful. Armin is kind of a piece of crap of a battle, so have to watch out for all the meteors. Yeah, we may have to take this in a slightly slower path, fighting the enemies, just because of the like nonsense. Since Armin is just going to spam that. Yeesh. And of course he cast him.
Better tread carefully.
So here we'll have to, like I said, go a little bit slower just to get through. Thank God. All right, so Armin's down. Still no katana. Still no katana. There we go. And still no katana. Wow, is this game really gonna make me beat it with a level 63 weapon?
I think we overdid.
All right, so we took down one of the three paths. So we'll continue on in our journey. So that path has an Armin. Weirdly enough, as dangerous as Armin is, that it's not the most painful of the paths in terms of like the mini boss that appears there. Now, I don't actually have to fight him, but because my weapon is so under damaged or under leveled at this point, I had no choice just to try and actually survive. Well, if we don't get a weapon drop, in this stage, D, then we have to, because there's pretty much no more weapon drops after this stage. It's completely random. There's no guarantee on one way or another on how to get a weapon.
All you got. Lives will be easier without it. It's stealing the other monster's energy.
All right. Oh my God, I think I see a katana. We got a katana. We got a level 110 katana. Wrong button.
Looks like that's most of it. Time to stop.
All right, enough of this nonsense. All right, now it's time for me to go ham on these fools.
Another statue down. Next.
Yeah, let's go.
Now, the run was never doomed. I would just have to treat it like an action run where I'd be more mindful of like what I'm doing.
These statues left.
Thankfully, because I died so much on my action run, I've learned most boss patterns of like what I can block, what I can't block, how to dodge. So like I could fight the bosses in a slower, more calculated way if I have to.
What is this darkness the Ufenians are sending? Catalyst for change. It corrupts animals, people.
Yeah, so now we've got one more path to go down before we get to fight the boss.
And it's that darkness that dulled the crystal's light.
So basically, darkness makes sparkly happy world a sad gloomy world?
Then what's our role in all this?
The leaderboard, yeah, the leaderboard should be going up soon. Myself and the other moderator are just finalizing the categories and stuff, but yeah, we should have the leaderboards up soon-ish.
This is the last statue. Remember, stay vigilant.
See? One shot. See what happens the minute I get a stronger weapon? I can one-shot those dark vents like they're nothing.
I see that. Now let's try not to go down with it.
As you can see, I've got a doom clock on me. Thankfully, if I go here, the doom clock will go away, so I'm not too worried about that.
Front ass toast. Let's go.
So the boss of this stage is actually going to be our buddy Astos.
To save the world.
But we did too good of a job. So the Ufenians sent
Maybe it wasn't just us getting rid of the darkness. Maybe someone was adding light as well.
That would be the princesses, especially.
All right, let's get in there.
Darkness lingered within the castle.
Boss battle time. All right, now we get to fight our old buddy Astos.
Why is darkness surrounding Astos? What's going on? Try not to get hit. Darkness is weakening. Now's your chance. Turtling up.
All right, I think I'm doing a little too much with eating damage. All right, there we go. Let's go ahead and optimize during that while we can. Man, 3 resets. I fought this thing for like an hour. I was gonna say, power to you. Like I fought this thing for like almost an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. It drove me insane.
I am an elven mutation. Genetically constituted and created to serve. I monitor and measure the strength of darkness. Manipulation of chaos.
Watch my back. I'm counting on you. Try not to get hit. You're in for it now.
We got this.
What's a Final Fantasy game without Ultima, right? All right, we should be done. Okay. Guaranteed one. That's good. I could see it if you playing this game on hard first. Like, I could definitely see that. I would say the one unfortunate thing about, yeah, this is where the story definitely gets to be like less cringy and campy and more like serious. Oh yeah, Tiamat was a woohoo man. Tiamat was a thing. Tiamat was a thing to fight on action. Like that, getting through that like regenerative thing was awful at first. All right, we've got 2 stages left. No more weapon drops, so the 110 is going to have to carry us, which is fine. We've gone back to Cornelia because we've learned the truth of some stuff. Stuff that I can't remember, but you know what? The game's so new, I'm not going to spoil it anyway if I did remember, so feel free to play it yourself to learn what's going on.
No cold feet.
Because the end of this mission is going to be very confusing to you without knowing the story.
Can't let him down now.
What'll happen to Cornelia?
We'll protect it. We have no other choice.
No need to fear, Neon. We're heroes, the warriors of light. Let's swoop in and save the day.
Yeah. Obviously, the one drawback to getting like bad drops throughout the run is just for perspective. At one point, I was 7.5 minutes ahead of my PB, and I have been bleeding. I've been mostly bleeding time since that point due to the just poor drops that we had around was it the Earth Shrine? I think from the Earth Shrine is where we've had our issue with weapon drops since then. Plus, we ended up dying twice on the Earth Shrine due to the poison stuff. So it's been a little iffy. But that's part of the fun of this run. Some runs can go very smooth, and time save is all up in there because your drops have been at least keeping you relevant, or your drops have been evil, and you're basically just getting one shot by a lot of stuff. So we went to go check on Princess Sarah. We found her father, the king, has been killed. So now we are going to deal with all the enemies. Though we're going to skip all these battles, thankfully. Or try to. Dark Flare kind of vacuums you in. But basically, this is the part where you're trying to save people. Basically lead them to the front of the town against all these enemies. Gotta watch out for mind drain.
Ridiculous.
Bud. Yeah, if I'm not using haste, then I have to be careful of the side attacks from some of these enemies. Yeah, so Jack has gone on ahead while the team
We're almost out of this.
is hanging back and guiding everybody. So we get up to the front. Some things are going to happen. So some stuff happens now, and then I'm going to have to fight a bunch of random enemies. It's not the best grouping of enemies to deal with, which is kind of booty, but, you know, got to deal with it. Thankfully, our weapon is relevant enough that we should be possibly okay, as long as we can. All right, we were in a better spot. Actually, this should help damage the other ones. So, all right, okay, we found a nice open window to go ham. You know, I guess there's a chance to get drops here. Alright, that actually wasn't too bad. I didn't pay attention if I actually got any decent drops, so we'll try to like slot whatever we could slot during the battle. So things are gonna happen, and I'm not gonna tell you why they're happening, but I now have to kill my teammates.
Yeah. The chaos that gnaws at this world is the final, sad end of the fallen strangers who lost their battle.
Now you can't actually you can't lose this battle, just for the record.
Defeated the fiends.
Exactly. We aren't warriors of light, Jack. We're pawns the Lufenians unleashed on an unwitting world, destined to fail time and time again. Outsiders don't belong here.
This time, Astos played his part as guide flawlessly. Until now, we've never made it this far alive. All that's left is for you to master the darkness.
Beat the darkness.
So thankfully you can't lose, because they really go ham on you, as you can see here. That it just stuns you a lot.
But it is you who will die here.
You too? Even we know what happens next.
The rest is in your hands.
You can do it, Jack.
Tame chaos. Make it your own.
This is crazy. I can't fight you. Come on, show us what you got. Ash, I don't. What are you
Aha, okay, I got two of them in a stun lock.
What is this pathetic display?
Shut up, shut up!
Don't disappoint me, Jack.
Stop fucking around!
Pathetic.
Yes, I got the. Wait. Okay, here we go. I got kind of a stun lock going.
Change
Okay.
the world.
I'll remake it. Set it
It would be, but it would be kind of amusing if their stats changed. So there's one down.
Inside.
She's ready to go. I think she gets it the worst.
That's our Jack. You really are tough.
Why?
Make their power your own.
Yes, the power of creation itself.
Did I put in my role right? Sorry, must have heard.
How could I? Remember what you lost. Who you failed. I couldn't protect her.
I would say, how is he still needing to be taken down?
This time, protect her. This world needs
Yeah, well, I think there's a setting you can change. Actually, that's a good question. I think there's a setting you can turn off not to optimize your party. I'm pretty certain that's an option in the menu where it says like optimize party as well when you optimize your gear. I think if you turn that off, actually, that's a good question. I might look at turning that off for the speed run and see if that helps makes that battle like a lot faster. Yeah, so that's actually a good question. I'm gonna have to test that out. It's a good idea. Testing to see if I can keep them unoptimized to make that battle quicker. Alright, so here we are. It's the final stage. It's time to, well, kill chaos, kill darkness, reset the world. So I'm not going to get into the full details of it, but Jack has decided to reset the world is what he's doing.
Of course.
Yeah, why'd I reset?
Reset the world.
Yeah, also apparently just says I'm going to reset the world.
That's not enough. I need chaos.
Hey, okay, so we got a 116 katana apparently.
There is in this
Na, 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 na.
Time for a change.
Thankfully, MP just stays at max for this section because Jack is like chaos incarnate at this point. But basically, there's some stuff that happened in the story that alluded that we needed to come back here to reset the world. So that's why we've returned to the Chaos Shrine. Where we started, we also end.
Leon, Sophia, guiding, weren't you? Setting me up.
So thankfully all the doors are already open, so basically just gonna head straight into the end. Now obviously because there's no dark vents, we are going in with only 2 bars of MP, but honestly 2 bars of MP on the final boss is more than enough. And fun fact, I'm gonna just tell you all that right now, the timer does not stop when we defeat the final boss, just as a heads up. Yeah, I just don't really have like any abilities. I guess I probably could have buffed some more stuff. I might be able to like buff a couple things before I go into the final battle. It's true. It is true, Mesh. That's right. I don't have the infinite MP now. Sorry. I should have buffed before I went through the door. But I don't know if the buffs would actually persist. To be honest with you, I don't know if they would actually last through that. All right, time for Darkness Incarnate.
Stand back and witness the birth of chaos. Watch as your plans turn to dust. A mere human from the events of so much darkness. An eternity of despair will do nothing. We're only just getting started. Perfect. All that darkness and rage will be mine. Almost. Just a little.
All right, that's phase 1. I fought this boss for like 2 hours, so like I may not be dodging as much as I should, but I definitely can like no hit that first phase. Okay, that move is Eep. All right, and he's down. Whew. And that's pretty much it. We just have to get to the end of the run. So there's a little bit of gameplay after this. So that's why the timer isn't being called yet. But that's pretty much the run. We've defeated Darkness Manifest. It's fun to see destroy quickly. I agree. It's fun. It's fun to destroy quickly. Yes, it's time for the victory walk because it looks like I'm gonna PB. I think this is, I don't know, it might be, the PB might be close. It's like a 40, I think it's like 45 seconds to a minute of a walk. All right, so this is pretty much the finale. This is the walk up to the end. So, I don't know. I don't know if it's going to PB actually. I think we're going to, I don't know, we might just miss it.
Sorry, Jeff.
Can't do math.
It was never a mercy to forget.
Yeah, I can't do math.
You were right.
We may just miss it. But whoever's on timer, get ready. Time is when I interact with the door. So once the interacting with the door and the screen fades to black happens, that's time.
This is our world now. I won't let those bastards.
Yeah, I'm gonna PB. I'm gonna PB by a very small amount, but hey, PB's a PB, right?
Never give up hope. The warriors of light.
And no, I can't use haste or dodge or anything. I can literally only walk here. All right. And with that said, we are time. It was only a PB by a minute and 16, but it's a PB, right? We'll get the big time save on the next run. That's weird. Never mind. The timer, okay, apparently I guess my timer was in a different place.